Hi Papercrafters, welcome to another Design with Jo video. I'm Joanne Rogers, a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Central Alberta, Canada, and I've been designing with you in mind since 1999. Today I want to bring you a video in my handmade candy corn countdown. So these are 5 weeks of Halloween projects for you. So lots of fun things that you can share with family and friends and all the little ones in your life. So this is everything that you're going to need in terms of supplies. You're going to need a piece of your designer Toil and Trouble paper and one that you're going to be able to cut a whole witch's hat out of. You're going to need another piece of DSP, whichever one you like. I love these little ghosty guys. And this piece is 1/2 inch by 3 3/4 inches. A piece of Granny Apple Green that is 8.5 by 2. A piece of the Gorgeous Grape, and the Gorgeous Grape is 2.5 by 3 3/4. And then you just need some, we need a piece of ribbon. So this is the mini Gorgeous Grape striped ribbon, and I've got a piece that's about 11. You can give yourself maybe just a tad more than that, maybe 12 inches. And then some scraps. You need a scrap of your basic black and a scrap of your Whisper White. So first of all, I'm going to do the scoring so that you can see the little box and the outside. So you're going to pull in I'm going to pull in my Stampin' Trimmer, and we're going to be using the scoring blade as opposed to the cutting blade. So move the cutting blade out of the way, and we're going to score this at 1 inch. I'm going to move this from the right over to the left. So I'm going to start here at 1 inch, and I'm going to score it at 1. Score it at 3 7/8. So if you go all the way out almost to 4, that's 3 7/8. And then 4 5/8, so right over here, 4 5/8, and 7.5. So I do need to pull up my arm for that, so I'll just pull that out and go to 7.5. There we go. Okay, so that's it for scoring of our Granny Apple Green. Now we're going to take our piece of Gorgeous Grape, and we're going to have the orientation so the long side of it, the 3 3/4, is at the top of your trimmer. And you're going to score this one at 1/2 inch, so half is here, and there's no little lip right here on my trimmer, so I'm going to rely on this lip on this side. So I'm going to put it at 1/2, and I'll close it and hold it with my right hand, and then hold down my channel. Score it at 1/2 and at 1 inch. So move it over to 1 inch, score it 2 3/4, go over here to 2 3/4 and 3 1/4. Go. Then you're going to turn it 90 degrees and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch. So I can use the 1/2 inch on this side this time, and I'm going to line up my 1/2 inch over there, and I'm just going to give it a good score. So we're done with our trimmer, so you can put that aside. And now we're going to work mainly on this guy. So before I do anything, I want to actually do some cutting on the bottom. So I'm going to cut in, just to take a tiny little sliver out of there. That's just going to make it fit a little bit better. And if you don't get it all the way like I did the first time, just sort of pull that out. I've got it stuck on my nail now. Pull out this guy and this one as well. And you'll see when we fold this all together how it's going to work. Okay, we're done with the scissors, and I'm going to fold this up, and I am also going to burnish it with my folding bone. I'm going to lay it, and I'm going to turn it over this time so that my folds are going to look like this. So we're going to make a little box like this. And now I'm going to take my little piece of designer paper, and I'm going to glue that on with my snail. So just turn it over. Try and get your snail right to the edge of this. And put it on here. I've gone up just maybe not even 1/8 of an inch, just a tiny little bit of purple. And I've got some extending here. I'm just going to snip that off. So that's gone. Now here you're going to use your tear and tape, and with the tear and tape we are going to find it first of all where the end is. There it is, right where I started probably. And we're going to put glue on this outside one and this outside one. We're going to put it here, actually all the way along here. Okay, so let me get that done for you, and then I'll show you the completed one. Okay, so that's where you need your tear and tape. And we're now going to fold this. Because I put my designer paper, you can score it too if you want, but I find you don't really need to because it's not as thick as the cardstock, so I'm able to just fold that in. So this is what we're going to be building. And we're going to, first of all, we're going to move in these two little flaps. So I'm going to take my tape off everywhere. So you can take my 3 pieces of tape off just by using my fingernail. If you find this difficult, you can always pull in your paper piercing tool and do that. So what I'm going to move it this way so that you can see. So it is sticky. What we're going to do is we are going to, I'm going to give this just a little clip. I could have actually put 2 separate pieces here, but this way it just goes a little bit faster. So I'm going to first of all put this one down, and then I'm going to put this over top, and I'm going to slide this one underneath. So you've created a little box like that, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Put this one in first, so that guy in, whoops, and get it to stick. Put my fingers in behind there, and then I'm going to put this one as far as it will go inside. So I've created almost like a little matchbox, and I've got my glue along the back and my glue along the bottom. So I'm just going to set that aside for just a second. And on this guy here, I'm going to fold it on my score lines. I'm going to burnish that up with my folding bone as well. And I'm going to fold in on those ones at the bottom and fold out on the ones at the top. And I probably should have stuck it into my tag topper punch to begin with. It just will be a little easier. It'll still work here, but I'm going to take those ends, put it in my tag topper, and because this is just shy of 2 inches, I'm putting it all the way to the end. I'll show you this time. Normally I use my punches upside down so that I can see, but because I was in this channel, I didn't need to, but this is what it looks like upside down. Okay, and I'm done with the tag topper punch. So what I have now is something that looks like this. Okay. So we're going to take our little box that we've created, and on one of those score lines, just inside the score line, you are going to take the box and you are going to try and center it in there. And this is going to be a little bit wider than your box, and I did that on purpose. Okay, so I'm going to really firm that up on the bottom. And now I'm just going to hold it flat and take my box, squeeze it just barely so that these 2 pieces right here are going to lie pretty flat to the cardstock. And then I'm going to move it down and adhere it, go in there with my folding bone and just tighten those up. So there we've got the inside. And I created this size for a little Kit Kat that we have here, and it's even big enough it'll take something a little bit larger than that. If you have different treats that are different sizes, you might need to modify this a bit, but it's a perfect size for what I'm doing. So there's our treat. I'm going to take that out just while we finish the rest of it. So now we're going to just do a little bit of stamping and cutting and finish it off. So you're going to need your designer paper, and I'm going to cut out one of these hats. So I'm going to do this fairly quickly. You always want to leave just a little channel of white. That's just going to have a lot more pleasing effect. I have a tiny little bit off the top here. That's okay. I do have another one cut that has the top if I didn't want to worry about it. Okay, so we've got our hat. Now I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. I'm going to use my markers, and I've got pumpkin pie, gorgeous grape, and granny apple green. And I have from the takeout treats. I really like this one. I've used it quite a bit, not just for Halloween, but for other things as well. So we're going to use the, where is it? This is for you. And why I like this is that it's not just for Halloween. So Christmas cheer, it's got a thank you, something sweet to eat that can be all season. These can be for birthdays, Valentine's, for love you lots. There's Christmas in here. I really do think this will be a year-round set for us. So I've already put that onto my block. And I'm going to start with my pumpkin. My pumpkin is just going to be the exclamation mark. And really just the exclamation, the long part. The U and the dot on the exclamation is going to be gorgeous grape, and you can do whatever combination you like. This is the one that I like. And you can, what I'm doing is I'm working on the side of my Stampin' Write marker. I don't want to work on the tip because you can damage your tip a fair bit with that. And you're going to go with your, your granny apple green for the last part. Okay, just for the "this is for you." And I'm going to stamp that on top of my scrap of white. Straight down and straight up. And then I'm going to go in there with my 1.5 inch punch, and I'm going to just punch that out. It's the one that fits very nicely over top of it. And I'm going to go to the top a bit. And then I'm going to take a 1 3/4 inch circle, black. So now I have everything that I need here. I'm going to glue this guy down, and I'm going to go right to the bottom. I want to have it not exactly centered. So I'm going to glue that down with some snail. Okay, and I'm not going to glue that down quite yet. I'm going to go back in here. So I'm ready for this, but I need to do something else first. So I'm going to take my tear and tape again. I have a piece already, and I'm going to put a piece right here. And I'm going to put a piece just below that score line and just above the score line. And this is on the back that I'm doing this, not on the front. Okay. I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to take my strip of ribbon, and I'm going to center it, try and center it as much as possible. Put that right over top of the tear and tape. Take this other one off, and if you happen to get a little bit of tear and tape extending beyond, just take your finger and move it back. And then I'm going to pull this guy down, and I'm going to glue him in place. So he's just going to create a little scalloped edge there, and I'm not going to have ribbon go through. So now I have my ribbon there. I'm going to take this, and one thing I thought about doing is I'm going to put it down to the bottom, and I'm going to actually cut off this little piece after I've done it. So I could put this into my trimmer and do it, but I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to try, so I'm just doing this for the video, I'm going to try and actually cut that off nice and straight. So here we go. Put it down here. I'm going to put it off to the side just a little bit, and you'll see why in a minute. So now I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to cut off that piece. I'm not going to cut this one. I'm just going to cut off this one. Okay, so now it's straight with the bottom, and we're going to put this on last. So what I want to do now is I'm going to take my ribbon, oops, I'm going to put in first my little treat, then I'm going to take my ribbon into the front, and from the bottom put it through the hole. And when I pull these tight and tie it in a knot, it's going to hold it pretty flat. Okay, so just a square knot, so right over left and under, and then left over right and under. Okay, and I want this little bit peeking up because I don't want it to be completely flat. Take my scissors, my snips, and just cut that off a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is take some of the dimensionals, and I'm going to put my hat on. So dimensionals here, and I'm just going to put it on in the middle because I'm not exactly sure yet where I'm going to place this. And I want the hat to sit on the treat and extend off the side. So I'm just going to take my dimensional backing off. I'm going to finish it off like that. Actually, you know, I think I do want that to go down. In order to have it go down, I think I'm going to need to put a glue dot in there. So I'm going to grab my glue dots, and I'm going to just pick up one with my paper piercing tool and go underneath here. So this way they can just untie the knot, and they'll still be able to open it up, and the ribbon will fall off. And I think the very last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of our glitter shapes on here, and that's the Gorgeous Grape. I'm going to go for a small one, I think over here, and maybe a large of the Granny Apple Green over here, and I think I'm going to go for a small green down maybe over here. Okay, so there is your treat, and that's your project. Thanks very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you do, please consider liking it and subscribing to my YouTube channel. I post regularly at www.designwithjo.ca, and I'd love to have you join in. All the supplies are in the description. Have fun.